At the beginning of the 20th century, Bitola stood as one of the most important administrative, military, and cultural centers of the Ottoman Empire. Known as the City of Consuls, it was a crossroads of interests, ideas, and influences, but also a city destined to feel the tremors of a violent new age. Political upheavals, national movements, and the weakening of the empire dragged Bitola into a vortex of instability. The Alinden Uprising, constant propaganda struggles, and the collapse of Ottoman rule left deep scars on the city and its people. With the Balkan Wars, Bitola was struck by destruction, refugee waves, and economic collapse. A new, silent enemy followed, diseases, spreading easily among civilians and soldiers, weakening the population even further. Then came the First World War. Though the front was not yet at its doorstep, the war penetrated daily life. Men were drafted, families lost their providers, and livestock was seized for military needs, crippling agriculture and food supplies. Medical care for civilians was neglected, leaving the population vulnerable to illness and death. In October 1915, Bulgaria entered the war on the side of the Central Powers, transforming the balance of power in the Balkans. The Serbian army was forced into its tragic retreat across the Albanian mountains. By 1916, a new battlefield emerged, the Macedonian front, placing Macedonia at the very heart of the war. Bitola, once a cultural center, slowly became a frontline city. Without clear military necessity, French aircraft began bombing Bitola and nearby towns, causing destruction and civilian casualties that forever marked the city.
January 23, 1916. At 9:15 in the morning, 12 French airplanes bombed Bitola. 5 bombs fell very close to our walls. Our windows shattered, and fragments pierced the chapel. There are reports of 150 killed or wounded.
In November 1916, Allied forces captured Bitola, pushing the Central Powers into the surrounding mountains, less than 15 kilometers away. The city, with roughly 30,000 inhabitants, now lay directly on the front line. Unlike cities in Western Europe, Bitola's population was not evacuated. Civilians remained trapped under constant shelling and air raids, effectively becoming hostages of the front. Bitola was no longer just a military target, it became a city where civilian life was sacrificed in the logic of total war. For nearly 2 years, the city endured relentless bombardment. Food ran out. People tore down ruined houses for firewood. Medicine was scarce, and disease spread through the weakened population. Even when the front was mostly static, the guns did not fall silent, ammunition had to be spent. Behind the battlefield stood another war, economic and financial. Bulgarian farmers paid for German shells with grain, Serbia bought French weapons with French loans, while France borrowed from the United States. Money, then as now, was a powerful engine of war. On September 15, 1918, at Dobro Pole in Mariovo region, the breakthrough of the Macedonian front began, the beginning of the end of the First World War in the Balkans. Soon after, Bulgaria, the Ottoman Empire, and Austria-Hungary capitulated, and on November 11, 1918, the war officially ended. But for Bitola, peace did not mean relief.
When we arrived in Bitola, it was an open grave. Wolves and dogs dug up shallow graves. People lived like skeletons wrapped in rags. The city was full of orphan children, some naked in Red Cross food lines, others dying in the ruins from influenza, typhus, or hunger.
As the war ended, the influenza pandemic spread across the world, killing tens of millions. In Macedonia, exact numbers are unknown, but the region suffered terribly. Today's Macedonia was then part of Kingdom of Serbia, a country that had one of the highest death rates in Europe, up to 27%, and frontline areas like Bitola were likely even worse. The war left generations marked by loss. Thousands of children were orphaned. Many survivors carried physical and psychological wounds for life. The land around Bitola was devastated, fields turned into graves and trenches. Farming became nearly impossible. Houses lay in ruins, and people lived in makeshift shelters among the rubble. Years passed before life slowly returned to something resembling normal. Yet the scars of war remained, in the landscape and in memory. Even after the peace, unexploded shells continued to kill, reminding people that war does not truly end when the guns fall silent. This is not only a story of the past, it is a warning. Bitola was not just a front, it was a home of people crushed between the ambitions of great powers in a war they did not choose. Today, as we walk these streets, we must remember, peace is not a gift, it is a choice, a responsibility, and a duty to those who paid for it with their lives. Cities can be rebuilt, houses can rise again, but human lives, never.